Good morning, team. So I've had a few questions regarding the new Inner Circle membership. So I'll cover them now quickly, but there is another email. There will be another video coming at lunchtime, just on the offer that we have for you around this, and just a couple other bits that I'm going to let you know about. So specifically with the Inner Circle membership, the whole logic around it is that the majority of the people that we work with and have worked with over the years train 3 days a week, mainly focus on resistance-based training, so semi-private PT. And for many years, we tried to adapt to what people wanted rather than what they actually need. And now is a time to push and make a big focus point of 3 PTs a week. We've got lots of data on it. We know that it's the most effective. We know for the age groups that we're working with, which is generally 45 to 65, 3 times a week is enough to A, get your recovery in, but B, from a time perspective, and C, from a results perspective, it checks a lot of boxes. Now, could you potentially do more than that? Yes. Could you do less than that? Yes. But what we want to do is we're making one unified membership that will mean that you can do up to 3 PTs a week. It will give you access to the sweat sessions and the yoga, but I'll come to that in a minute. So we want to just draw everyone's attention to the fact that what you're actually paying for and why the membership was developed in the first place and why semi-private was developed in the first place, because most of the clients that we work with and have worked with since 13 years ago, doing one-to-one 3 days a week isn't cost effective for most people. Likewise, most people need a lot of the same, except for small modifications depending on your ability, dependent on your current mobility, and for the majority of people, that checks a box. Most people do not need one-to-one coaching unless they have a specific marathon target, bodybuilding target, and so on. So this is why we're going to that route with the specifics of 3 PTs a week with it. Now, the old legacy memberships, we're more than happy to leave that as it is. That's fine. But going forward, all the new people will go onto these memberships only. And it will allow them to train up to 3 days a week. Not you've got to do 3 days a week, okay? Because it's part of the bigger picture and the offering that we're trying to carve out, which is a holistic transformation side of things. So that's the training side. Nutritionally, most people need to drill in the basics. So we'll be running every single person that goes through that program through our foundations, our 6-week foundations course. Now, for the majority of you guys, when we've finished building this, and which we are nearly already done, for everyone, we're going to try to get the majority of you to go back through the foundations, because we want to build strong foundations before we start building off it. We get a lot of the same questions, and 9 times out of 10, it's because people aren't doing the basics. So we want to get the basics put in place, the foundations built, and then build off of that. Okay, so we're having a very specific course path that we're following. Now, some of you might not need that. Some of you may already have got your nutrition dialed in, but I'd strongly encourage you to go through that foundations process, because it'll help put that in place, and that might teach you something you don't know. I get people often come to me, think they know what they're doing, but they're still not doing the foundations or the basic principles. They're going off on a tangent looking for some other thing. I'm trying to get you unified into the BTC way, okay? Because there's lots of strategies that we can deploy, but you need to have the basics in place. Regarding the accountability side, we're going to be assigning every coach to a person. So we're going to have specific people assigned to people, so that then that way they can deal with overseeing them. I will oversee the overarching bigger picture with the coaching. However, right now, the clients will be split into two for the inner circle side of things, and the one bunch will be with Sameh, one bunch will be with me. When we get another coach, my bunch will be reduced down. That coach will take some of the clients on eventually. Okay, so that will form that side. In terms of the yoga, as I said, we're going to be introducing extra sessions come next year for the in-person. And the plan is with that you will be able to choose within the membership how many yogas you do. So we're only going to be giving access to 2 sweat sessions a week through the new Inner Circle membership. And the reason for that is most of you don't train more than 2 sweat sessions a week. And to be honest, if you're doing 3 PTs a week and doing 2 sweats a week, you're probably near the limit of where you should be from a training perspective. Not one of you really should be training 7 days a week, okay? Not, and I mean properly training, because you won't recover that easily. I know that through my own experiences. I'm in the same age categories as the majority of you. So most of you might do some active recovery, a light brisk walk. But if you're training hard 5-6 days a week, you need a day's recovery. Like, it's as simple as that. Most people are overlooking their recovery, and there's ways to monitor that. And I'll talk to you a bit more about that as time goes on. And these are the sort of things we're going to cover in Q&As and in the membership site. But some of you are probably overtraining. I'm careful what I say to people because I don't want to upset people, but some of you are probably overtraining. Actually, not probably, you are. So these are the things that I want to just highlight. But again, that comes back to a bigger health picture. So with the membership, there'll be access to 2 sweats a week, which is more than enough. As I said, they're an added bonus. The yoga, there will be an option to potentially do 2 yoga sessions a month in person. Now, if you don't do a sweat session or something else, we're basically going to put it on a credit system. So you'll be able to do either multiple, you'll be able to do one yoga session. So in your group of sessions, the way we're structuring it is that we're going to give you access to the PT, okay? And the usage for the yoga will come out of the PT sessions. So we're going to give an extra session every month to accommodate for the extra 4 weeks of the year, but also to give you an opportunity to do the yoga. It's its simplest format that we can do it in to check all the boxes. If you want to maybe do 2 yoga sessions that month instead of, an extra PT in the month, or maybe one of your PTs, because sometimes people don't use all their sessions, then you can do, okay? This is why we're setting it up in this way. Let's say the sweat, you'll have access to 2 per week, okay? So you'll be capped off at 8 per month. So that will be outside of the PT usage. And then there's some other bits that we're going to be bringing on board. Does this change what you're doing if you're already on a membership where you only do 2 PTs a week? No, not at all. You can stay on those legacy memberships for as long as you're a member. As long as if you cancel, then that'll be chopped, okay? And you want to come back in a month's time, that'll be chopped. So that will be the main thing.